The Legion Go 2 released just about a week ago now, and back when the Xbox Ally was about a week old, I made a video sort of taking the temperature in the room, how people are feeling, what is the community sentiment a week in. And so far for the Legion Go 2, I would argue it's mixed, maybe slightly more positive, but for me, my personal feelings haven't really changed. And after seeing some people's thoughts and reviews of this device, some of my opinions actually have been furthermore just cemented in place. Primarily, the Z2 Extreme is just a little too underwhelming. Yes, it does provide better performance, but it is still, at the end of the day, a nominal increase in performance and not really worth the huge price increase that we saw. But there are some things that people might really want to take in consideration though, because for what it's worth, the Legion Go in isolation is still pretty good. And comparing it against many of its contemporaries, the Legion Go 2 still does shine as a great example of what a good handheld could be. Just like the Xbox Ally, it's so close to being perfect, but it just does stumble in a few key areas. There are still some amazing highlights that might be all you need to really convince you to buy this. One of the big standout features that everybody's been talking about is the big and beautiful 8.8-inch OLED display. Though it is a lower resolution than last generation, it is still a small enough screen where I do not think the difference between 1440p and 1080p really matter. It's still an amazing, pretty nicely pixel dense display, but I would argue that the benefits given to you by OLED far outweigh the benefits you might receive from having a higher resolution panel, which, considering the power level of this handheld, those pixels are generally going to go to waste because it's not going to be able to render modern AAA titles at anywhere close to the resolution of the old handheld anyways. Standout features are the brightness, the amazing contrast, the vibrancy of the display has been something a lot of reviewers and people who've gotten it so far have really appreciated. It is a drastic improvement over last generation, but I still don't really care about it. A lot of people made a big stink when the Switch 2 wasn't OLED like the Switch OLED was, but honestly, as long as it's a decently high quality IPS panel, I don't really care. I would much rather have a high resolution panel in the context of the Switch 2, because if I had to choose, most likely Nintendo would have gone down the route of either high refresh rate or OLED. Even though no game will actually ever run at the 120 Hz the Switch 2 does, I still do prefer that over an OLED panel. That might be a hot take, but in the context for the Legion Go 2, there are very little compromises. It is a high refresh rate panel, it is huge at 8.8 inches, and of course, it's OLED. Those brilliant inky blacks, those vibrant visuals that just make games pop. Playing something like Octopath Traveler on this thing would be an absolute delight. The ergonomics that is something that has drastically changed since last generation. With having a more rounded and smoothed out form factor, it does generally feel nicer on the hands compared against its previous model, which I would argue makes a ton of sense. It is just a refinement of the ideas established with the Legion Go 1. With that refinement, we actually haven't lost any of the main features. It still retains its mouse mode on the right Joy-Con, still has its trackpad and its rear buttons. It's just way more comfortable to hold. It's not like though you're going to be able to hold it very long, because much like the last generation, the Legion Go 2 is still quite a bit heavier than any other handheld out there right now. Generally speaking, the battery has improved, but it's not such a huge leap due to the more power-hungry components with the Z2 Extreme and the display. So I wouldn't say that it just ends up being basically the same. It is a little bit better because it's physically a much larger battery pack, but it's not like you're going to be going from playing games for like 2 hours to 5 hours. It's more like going from 2 hours to like 2.5 hours. An improvement, but not nearly as large as some people were hoping for. But I still think that is a great improvement overall, because any amount extra is just nice to have. With handhelds like this that are so big and bulky, I don't really move away from the wall that long. Even with my Steam Deck, I don't stay away from an outlet that long. Even the Steam Deck, though, does have some fairly decent battery life, especially if you're playing games like Stardew Valley or something. You can play for quite a bit of time, but it's always just good practice, you know? I don't want to find myself in a situation where I don't have the ability to charge the Steam Deck. That's why I have things like that battery attachment you've seen in some of my accessory videos. And I would anticipate people who have this handheld, the Legion Go 2, would probably also invest in some sort of either battery attachment for the device itself, or just invest in a really big battery bank, especially if you're going on any extended car trips or on an airplane or something like that. Another downside people have really not liked so far with the Legion Go 2 is most likely the thing that's most obvious to everybody: Windows 11. A lot of things have changed since the original release of the Legion Go 1. The widespread adoption of SteamOS amongst these AMD-based PC handhelds, making using them honestly way better, seeing performance increases in battery improvements across the board, generally speaking. Even earlier, you could use something like Bazite, but now we have official SteamOS support. And Windows have since released their own version of the Windows gaming mode stuff with an expanded version of the Xbox app on Windows to sort of supplant a sort of SteamOS-like gaming mode in Windows. It has nominal improvements to battery life and performance, but it's not nearly as much as most people were hoping for. But the one thing that it does do quite well is drastically improve navigation in actually using the device day to day, and that's something Legion Go 2 unfortunately does not have. I anticipate being able to install something like SteamOS on it at some point in the future, but as things currently stand, Bazite's your primary choice. People have gone and already installed it on the Xbox Ally, and on that device we saw massive improvements for performance. Except in one case where it went below the Windows performance at lower wattages, but that's more of an outlier than something that happens regularly. Either way, going and installing something like Bazite or maybe official SteamOS support in the future would maybe go a long way in helping actually get some better performance out of this chipset. Granted, I don't think it's horrible like I said before, but installing something like Bazite does go a long way in getting you that a little bit of extra performance to make it feel a little bit more of an upgrade than it does without it. And of course that comes with its own list of caveats, game compatibility, and all sorts of other nonsense, but that is the risk you gotta be willing to take if you want that little bit of extra performance to make this thing feel a little bit better. Overall though, community sentiment hasn't been a little bit more positive than the Xbox Ally, but the main sticking point for most people is that price. Starting at $1,100, that is quite a bit more than the original Legion Go launched at, and goes as high as $1,500. When you're charging that much, you necessitate the comparison to much higher end and more boutique specialty PC handhelds that offer more unique features for the average gamer, some things that they actually might want more than what the Legion 2 can provide. Sure, none of them offer the same amount of unique features that the Legion Go 2 does: detachable controllers, that amazing large 8.8-inch OLED display, the kickstand, but at least one of these alternative options may have something that entices you more than what the Legion Go 2 does. Whether that's a higher expandable performance base with more memory, higher tier chipsets, or being more portable like the GBD Win 5, or just a better design that's more ergonomic like the 1X Player Apex Fly Pro or whatever the hell thing is called. And both of those start about the same price as one of the mid-tier Legion Go 2s, with a much better chipset though, offering not just like a 15-20% performance increase, offering, at least in comparison, performance increases that are hitherto have never been seen before in PC handhelds ever, offering performance similar to some mid-tier gaming laptops with full-fat dedicated GPUs. The value proposition posed by the Legion Go 2 is not nearly as good as something like the original Legion Go, and you can still buy that device right now at Best Buy, and I expect a ton of them to be on sale in the coming months, especially with Black Friday right around the corner. I would argue your best course of action if you want something like the Legion Go 2, specifically with its detachable controllers, big screen, and kickstand and stuff, just get the original one. It's probably going to be on discount, layaway, Black Friday deal, whatever you may have nearby. If you manage to get one of them for less or around $600 with the Z1 Extreme and like the 1 terabyte of storage and stuff, that's a steal in comparison to a lot of the current handhelds sitting around that price. That's compared against some models of Steam Deck that go nearly to $600. That's the Legion Go S with a Z2 Go. So honestly, if you wanted a PC handheld, I don't think the Legion Go 2 is going to be applicable for most people. If I were to recommend it to the people out there, who do I think should be buying this? I think enthusiasts who like in particular the features the Legion Go 2 has. And there's not to say that there isn't a lot of them that people might be interested in. Primarily that big, beautiful OLED display. That is a unique feature that not very many other PC handhelds have. And that might be something that you might be interested in particular. And if you do, go ahead. It's going to be an amazing experience. Just be informed on what you're buying. You are not getting the world's most powerful handheld. You're getting something that's pretty mid, all things considered. It is a premium experience, and for some people, that is the exact choice for you. But at least for me, I'm skipping it. I'm not getting this one because of that huge price tag and very, very heavy looking design. And overall, it's not too interesting to me. There are other handhelds that I have my eye on. GBD15. I would love to hear what you guys think though. Do you overall agree with some of my thoughts in what I collected from sort of feedback from the community? I would love to hear what you guys think about this down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the other social media coverage down below. Affiliate links are also down there as well if you want to help support the channel. That goes a long way. If just clicking on those links helps out a lot. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.